The movie begins with a quick recap of the events happening on Earth. We learn that 300 years ago, mysterious, superpowered beings appeared on the planet. Then, 30 years ago, a child was sent to Earth from a planet called Krypton. That child was adopted by a humble farmer and his wife. 3 years ago, the boy finally revealed himself to the world as Superman, the one destined to protect Earth from any threat. And he lived up to that promise, saving the planet time and time again until he became the most famous alien in the world. Just 3 weeks ago, Superman managed to stop a country called Boravia from invading another nation named Garanbor. And 3 hours ago, he entered a brutal battle with a superpowered being known as the Boravian Hammer. But 3 minutes ago, for the first time ever, Superman was defeated.
We see him falling from the sky, crashing into the icy wastelands of the South Pole. He's badly injured, bloodied, and barely able to move. Struggling to stay conscious, Superman whistles for his loyal dog Krypto. Out of nowhere, a violent snowstorm begins forming, created by Krypto's incredible speed as he races to his master. The dog reaches Superman, happily bouncing around, trying to play, but Superman, too weak to move, hands him a piece of his cape and orders him to take him home. Krypto grabs the fabric and pulls him at lightning speed toward Superman's secret base, the Fortress of Solitude. Rising from beneath the ice, the massive crystal structure reveals itself. Inside, Superman's robotic assistants rush to lift him up and begin healing him.
He thanks them, but one of the robots coldly replies that gratitude is unnecessary. They were designed only to serve him. Suddenly, they activate a recorded message sent from Superman's real parents back on Krypton. On the projection, his mother and father lovingly tell him how much they care for him, that he is the most precious thing in their lives. They explain they sent him to Earth because it was the safest place in the universe, far from Krypton's inevitable destruction. They remind him that he is their only hope, the one who must save the universe from the darkness that will one day consume it. But the message cuts off abruptly. The robots explain that the transmission was damaged on its way to Earth and only the first part of the recording survived. They then inform Superman that his body has suffered critical injuries. To heal him, they expose him to concentrated sunlight, restoring his strength. Meanwhile, far away in the frozen wasteland, a powerful being named Angela arrives. She's clearly searching for the fortress, but when she can't locate it, she radios her team, telling them the location is hidden. Back at the fortress, Superman refuses to rest. Despite the robot's warning that his powers haven't fully recovered, he insists on returning to the fight against the Boravian Hammer. Determined, he takes off into the sky. Angela spots him and quickly informs her team Superman is heading back to battle. At that very moment, the Boravian Hammer is tearing through a city, leaving chaos and destruction in his path. He declares to the terrified people that this is Boravia's revenge, punishment for Superman's interference in their internal affairs.
But then, the truth is revealed. The Boravian Hammer is no ordinary soldier. He's actually a creation of a weapons tycoon named Luthor. Watching the chaos from a distance, Luthor smirks. This entire battle was his design. When Superman arrives, the fight reignites. From a hidden command center, Luthor and his team feed the hammer special codes, giving him the ability to predict every move Superman makes. Blow after blow lands until Superman is beaten down once again. Luthor and his men celebrate. It becomes clear that Luthor has hated Superman for years, and the hammer, whose real name is Ultraman, was built for one purpose: to destroy him. After studying Superman's fighting style for years, Luthor created Ultraman, programmed to counter every attack and anticipate every move. To the world, however, it looks like Ultraman is just another Boravian weapon. The deception works perfectly. After the fight, Ultraman delivers a chilling warning to the city. Boravia will strike again if anyone dares interfere. Then he retreats to a desert camp where a hidden time portal awaits.
Passing through, he reappears in Luthor's base, greeted with applause for his devastating success. Meanwhile, Angela finally finds the Fortress of Solitude, but just as she approaches, it sinks back beneath the ice. Frustrated, she radios her team again. It's revealed she too works for Luthor. He orders her to abandon the mission and return immediately. Back in the city, Superman lies on the ground, unable to move. A man from the crowd steps forward and introduces himself as Malik. He reminds Superman that they've met before, when Superman saved a woman from being run over. He tells him that he's saved so many lives, and now it's time for people to help him.
Superman tries to fly, but fails, his injuries holding him down. The crowd gathers around, their sympathy and support giving him strength. Watching from afar, Luthor takes note of Malik and begins gathering information about him. The next day, Superman resumes his human life as Clark Kent, a journalist at the city's biggest newspaper. On his way into the building, he notices the security guard reading an article about the Baravian hammer, the very article Clark himself had written. Moments later, he receives a call from his adoptive parents, who tell him how proud they are of him. Soon after, his colleague Lois congratulates him on the success of his article. Their friend Jimmy adds that the destruction caused in the battle has already exceeded $20 million in damages.
But before he can finish, the newsroom's televisions broadcast a live press conference. The Baravian president, Vasily, appears furious. He denies any connection to the so-called Baravian hammer, insisting his country had nothing to do with the creature. He accuses Superman of being the real cause of the devastation, reminding everyone that Baravia had good relations with America until Superman interfered and stopped their invasion of Garanbor. Now, he claims, Superman is responsible for the chaos and broken trust between nations. At the same time, Luthor is seen in a secret meeting inside the Department of Defense. He presents military leaders with footage of his combat robots, proposing that his forces should officially work under the government's command. His real goal? Gain the power to finally eliminate Superman. But one official challenges him. She points out that Baravia purchased $80 billion worth of weapons from his company in just 2 years, which means Luthor himself has been the biggest beneficiary of this war all along. Since Superman stopped the war, Baravia no longer needs to buy weapons from Luthor. And that, right there, is the real reason Luthor wants him gone. But Luthor denies it. He argues that Superman has become a potential threat and must be stopped, especially since he acts on his own without ever consulting world leaders. One of the generals pushes back, reminding everyone that Superman has saved them from countless wars. He's not only a hero, he's beloved across the world. And most importantly, there is no evidence proving that Superman poses any danger to Earth. In the end, Luthor's request is rejected.
That night, Lois returns to her office, only to find Superman waiting for her. It's then revealed that Lois knows his true identity, and that the two of them are deeply in love. Lois wants to conduct an exclusive interview with him, and Superman agrees. She begins by asking about his latest mission. She tells him the Secretary of Defense was furious that Superman acted against Baravia's military without authorization, entering their airspace and destroying their weapons without permission. Superman calmly replies that he ended the war without a single casualty, destroying all of Baravia's weapons without harming even one soldier. To him, that's what truly matters. He also explains that he spoke directly with Vasily, the president of Baraviya, but the details of that conversation are classified, and he cannot share them. Lois snaps, stopping the recorder. She reminds him this is a journalistic interview. He can't just say, "I can't talk about it." That only makes him look like he's hiding something. Frustrated, Superman admits he warned Vasily personally. If Baravia ever attempted to invade Garanbor again, he would stop them himself. Lois then tells him that a vicious online campaign is spreading against him. People are beginning to question his motives. To them, he's not human, he's an alien, and that makes him dangerous. Superman grows angry. He says he doesn't care what people think. All that matters is saving lives. But then his tone softens. He opens up to Lois, telling her how his parents sent him to Earth as a baby after Krypton was destroyed. He was meant to grow here, protect humanity, and honor his parents' dying wish. Lois, however, warns him that many people believe otherwise. To them, he's not here to protect humanity. He's here to conquer it. Her words cut deep. Superman ends the interview and walks away. Lois is left heartbroken, telling him they can't go on like this. Superman, filled with sadness, leaves her behind.
Meanwhile, Luthor, Angela, and Ultraman reach the South Pole. To their surprise, the Fortress of Solitude rises before them, and the gates open with ease. They step inside, immediately clashing with the robot guardians. The intruders destroy them all. But then Krypto leaps into action, attacking Angela and slashing her face. Furious, she retaliates, covering Krypto with a strange substance from her body, forcing him under her control. Luthor then approaches the control systems, ordering Angela to examine the technology. His hope: find something inside that could be used to turn the world against Superman. Angela extends her body, linking with the systems. Suddenly, the long-lost message from Superman's parents appears. Angela repairs the damaged part of the recording. Back in the city, Luthor's men release a monstrous creature named Kaiju. The beast grows rapidly, towering over buildings, and begins tearing the city apart.
Superman arrives just in time to save a small dog from being crushed under Kaiju's massive foot. He throws himself into battle, but Kaiju proves far too strong, breathing fire and forcing Superman to retreat into the sky. Superman dives down at full speed, slamming Kaiju with a devastating blow, but it barely phases the creature. Realizing he can't defeat Kaiju alone, Superman shifts his focus to rescuing civilians and animals in harm's way. That's when the government's justice team arrives. 3 superheroes named Gary, Lara, and Traffic. Together, they join Superman in the fight. Gary uses his powers to forge chains that bind Kaiju, while Lara strikes the monster's eye with a fierce blow. Throughout the chaos, Superman focuses on protecting civilians. Finally, Traffic plants explosive charges inside Kaiju's body. They detonate from within, killing the beast. Superman catches its massive corpse before it can collapse onto the crowd below.
The city cheers. Children clap in awe. Superman is hailed as a savior once again. But suddenly, breaking news flashes across every screen. Shocking revelations about Superman explode into the spotlight. Angela's repaired message has been leaked worldwide. More than 20 experts have authenticated it as genuine. The contents are devastating. Superman's parents call Earth's people weak-minded and primitive. They command their son to seize control of the planet, eliminating anyone who cannot serve his purpose. His father instructs him to rule with no mercy. His mother urges him to marry as many women as possible to produce countless offspring and ensure Kryptonian dominance on Earth.
The world is stunned. Luthor appears on live television, pointing his finger at the screen. He declares that Superman has been deceiving humanity all along. He's not a hero. He's been hiding behind that image while secretly preparing to enslave Earth. Luthor swears to the world that he will never allow this alien to succeed. People everywhere erupt in anger, fear, and betrayal. Superman, crushed by the accusations, can't bear the sight of it. Heartbroken, he retreats into a nearby building. Gary, Lara, and Traffic follow him. Gary demands answers. Is the message real? Superman admits the first part was true, but the second part he never heard. The recording had always been damaged. He suspects Luthor fabricated the rest.
But Traffic shakes his head. Experts analyzed the file and confirmed its authenticity. Lara wonders aloud how Luthor even got the message in the first place. That's when Superman realizes it. Luthor infiltrated the Fortress of Solitude. Furious, Superman rockets into the sky, heading straight for his base. At the same time, leaders of the Defense Department convene. Their decision is swift and merciless. Luthor will officially lead the mission to hunt down and capture Superman. Meanwhile, Lois is following the news reports. Public opinion about Superman has completely shifted. People have started to hate him. During this time, Vasily appears at a press conference, claiming that Superman interfered in their war with Garanbor for personal reasons. He accuses Superman of seeking control over nations, enslaving humanity, and plotting to conquer Earth. But when Vasily returns to his office, he secretly opens a hidden door, leading to Luthor's headquarters. That's when we discover the shocking truth. Vasily has been working for Luthor all along. Luthor smirks, telling Vasily he never expected Superman's own family to become the reason for his downfall. At that very moment, Superman arrives at the Fortress of Solitude. He finds one of his guardian robots lying on the ground, barely functioning. The robot apologizes for failing to protect the fortress. Superman is stunned. Luthor should never have been able to enter. The fortress only opens with his unique genetic signature. Before the robot shuts down completely, Superman realizes something terrible has happened, and Krypto, his loyal dog, is missing. Furious, Superman storms into Luthor's office, demanding to know where Krypton is. Luthor pretends not to understand, provoking Superman's anger until he smashes the office in rage. Nearby, Luthor's lover, Eve, secretly records everything on her phone and streams it live. Suddenly, the whole world watches Superman, shouting, furious, and out of control. That night, Superman returns to Lois's apartment. The moment she sees him, she apologizes for their fight earlier. She admits she never knew he had a dog. Superman explains the dog isn't his, he's just been caring for it until it's reunited with its owner. His expression turns sorrowful as he tells her the truth. The broadcasted message wasn't real. He only heard the first part of his parents' transmission, and they would never send him to Earth to conquer it.
Lois believes him. She tells Superman he must face this crisis with courage and prove to the world that he's still their protector. But to her shock, Superman reveals his plan. He will surrender himself. It's the only way to find Krypton and save him. The next day, Superman turns himself in to Luthor's soldiers. They escort him to a desert military base, where he's forced through a time gate into a parallel world. There he comes face to face with Luthor, who proudly reveals that this dimension was created by him. He's built countless portals across Earth that all lead here. Superman is then locked inside a cell with another prisoner, Rex. Rex has a terrifying gift. He can transform into any material in the universe. Luthor kidnapped his son to control him, forcing him to obey. Now Luthor orders Rex to transform his hand into kryptonite, weakening Superman instantly. To torment him further, Luthor shows Superman Krypton, trapped and suffering. He taunts Superman, promising endless experiments until his death. Luthor admits he wants to kill him, but the defense counsel insists on interrogating him first. Meanwhile, Lois investigates Luthor's involvement. She uncovers shocking financial records. Baravia purchased $80 billion worth of weapons from Luthor's company, yet only paid a fraction of the cost. The truth is clear. Luthor orchestrated everything from the very beginning, all to destroy Superman. Suddenly, her colleague Jimmy confesses something. He's been dating Eve, Luthor's girlfriend. From her, he learned that Superman is imprisoned in the parallel world. Inside the prison, Superman pleads with Rex. If Rex removes the kryptonite, Superman promises to rescue his son and free them both. But Rex refuses, convinced it's a trick. Then, in a cruel twist, Luthor drags in Malik, the man who once helped Superman in the streets. Luthor places a gun to Malik's head, demanding Superman answer his questions, or watch Malik die. Superman refuses, and with cold precision, Luthor pulls the trigger. Malik falls dead. Devastated, Superman breaks down in tears. Luthor coldly tells him this is only the beginning. Next time, there will be another victim unless Superman obeys. At the same time, Lois approaches the Justice League for help. She begs them to save Superman, revealing that Luthor has him trapped in a parallel world. Traffic, one of the heroes, admits he once implanted microscopic electronic particles inside Superman without his knowledge, allowing him to track Superman's movements. But the signal cut out as soon as Superman entered the base, confirming Lois's theory that he was transported to another dimension. Still, Gary and Lara refuse to help. They believe the rumors that Superman came to Earth to conquer it. Lois, furious, accuses them of jealousy because Superman is stronger than they are. She storms out in anger.
But to her surprise, Traffic follows her. He admits he wants to help save Superman, and he also wants to uncover the truth about Luthor's forbidden world. Together, they head to the military base in Traffic's ship. When they arrive, Traffic activates an energy shield around Lois and fights his way through Luthor's soldiers, wiping them out with ease. Lois is stunned by his power. Then, they step through the portal into the parallel world. Traffic warns Lois, this is dangerous territory. The technology Luthor used to create this place is forbidden. It could tear Earth apart, splitting it into two separate worlds at any moment. He begins decoding the portal, and after a tense effort, he succeeds. They step inside and find themselves above a river of fire. Traffic explains there's no way across. Superman must be the one to locate the portal and pass through. Their only hope is to send a small robot to search for him and guide him back. Meanwhile, inside the prison, Rex is tormented by guilt over Moloch's death. For the first time, he begins to doubt Luthor. Slowly, he considers joining forces with Superman. He hides the kryptonite, giving Superman a chance to regain his strength. After that, Superman's condition begins to improve, but he's still not at his full strength because he needs the power of the sun to fully recover. So, he creates a massive sphere of solar energy. Suddenly, a huge explosion erupts, flooding the place with blinding light. At that moment, Superman regains his powers. He shatters the prison cell and rockets toward Rex's sun cell, rescuing the boy. Rex is overwhelmed with joy when he sees Superman carrying his son, but he can't hold him because his body has transformed into a raging mass of fire. Then, Superman frees Krypton from his cell. Together, they all start searching for a time gate to return to the real world. But suddenly, Lex's soldiers attack. They knock Superman into the river of fire. Struggling to survive, Superman shields Krypton and the child in his arms. Meanwhile, Rex unleashes a burning substance from his body, annihilating the enemy soldiers. He rushes forward and grabs Superman just before he's pulled into a black hole. At the same time, Superman exhales a powerful blast of wind, pushing everyone away from the black hole. They all manage to escape the fiery river. At that exact moment, the robot Traffic had sent to find Superman appears. The robot leads them to the location of the time gate. They follow quickly and escape just before it closes. But exposure to kryptonite weakens Superman again. Traffic tells him he needs to rest so his body can heal. He asks Lois to take Superman somewhere safe, giving her his ship so she can travel wherever she chooses. Rex, meanwhile, takes his son and disappears. Lois decides to bring Superman to the home of his adoptive parents. There, they lay him in bed so he can recover. Meanwhile, Eve contacts Jimmy, saying she'll send him all the information he needs about Luthor. But, to Jimmy's surprise, she starts sending him pictures of herself. Shocked, Jimmy calls Lois, tells her what happened, and forwards the images. But Luthor himself is furious over Superman's escape. He works frantically to repair the destroyed time gate. Warnings erupt that doing so could tear the Earth apart, but Luthor ignores them and continues. The next morning, Superman wakes up looking healthier, but his father notices his sadness and sits beside him. Superman admits he's devastated. He never imagined his biological family sent him to Earth to conquer it. His father reassures him, telling him it's not his fault. He reminds Superman that he chooses his own path, his own destiny, and that he's proud of him for everything he's done. Just then, Superman's adoptive mother calls him to watch the news. He's stunned. The nation of Baravia has declared war on Garanbor. Children lift Superman's flag high, chanting his name, begging him to come save them. Soon, the entire population is shouting his name. Superman knows what he must do. He answers the call and takes off. But Traffic contacts him urgently, explaining that a massive rift in the Earth is expanding, threatening to destroy the entire planet. Meanwhile, Jimmy and Lois explain everything to their editor-in-chief. Luthor is behind all the chaos. From the very start, he planned to seize control of Garanbor and crown himself its ruler, a nation rich in oil and minerals.
Luthor even struck a deal with Baravia's president, promising him part of Garanbor in return for support. Lois tells the editor that Luthor is deliberately ignoring the spreading rift, hoping Superman will be too busy saving civilians to stop him from invading Garanbor. The editor believes them and gives Lois permission to take Traffic's ship and broadcast Luthor's secrets live to the entire world.
Meanwhile, chaos consumes the streets as police desperately evacuate civilians. The rift spreads, swallowing buildings, creating panic everywhere. A skyscraper is about to collapse onto a crowded bridge, but Superman arrives just in time, catching the building and saving countless lives. Traffic then tells Superman about a secret code that could seal the rift, one that only Luthor possesses. Suddenly, Ultraman and Angela appear, ambushing them. The impact is so intense that Traffic loses consciousness. Angela and Ultraman attack Superman together, but he fends off their blows. From his lair, Luthor watches the battle, ordering Angela to finish Superman immediately. Angela releases a dark black substance from her body, striking Superman. The substance invades his body, spreading rapidly. Superman rockets into the sky trying to expel it, but Angela and Ultraman pursue, holding him down to let the substance consume him.
In a desperate move, Superman crashes down to Earth at incredible speed, creating a devastating shockwave. Luthor panics when he realizes Angela has been gravely injured and is on the verge of death. But Superman survives, forcing the black substance out of his body as its power fades with Angela's injury. Then comes the shocking revelation. Ultraman is still alive. He removes his mask, revealing a perfect clone of Superman himself. Superman finally understands how Luthor managed to infiltrate his fortress. Luthor smugly explains he collected a single strand of Superman's hair from one of his past battles and used it to create a clone. Meanwhile, Baravia's forces invade Garanbor, unleashing chaos upon its people. In the middle of the battlefield, Superman's flag falls to the ground, but a small child picks it up, raises it high, and chants Superman's name. In that moment, Superman summons every ounce of strength within him. He launches at Ultraman with devastating blows, overpowering his clone. Then he delivers a message to Luthor. No matter what he does, he'll never conquer Garanbor, because its people and Superman's allies will defend it with everything they have. Stunned, Luthor watches as Superman rises once again, and the child holding his flag becomes a symbol of unshakable hope. And as the enemy forces get closer, suddenly Jari appears. He creates a powerful protective barrier around them and tells everyone that Superman sent them here to save them. Jari then unleashes his power, destroying the Boravanian army in moments. Rex joins the fight at his side, lending his strength. Meanwhile, Lara chases down Vassal as he tries to escape. She grabs him, soars high into the sky, and drops him from above, ending him once and for all. At the same time, Superman continues his intense battle against Ultraman. Ultraman tries to overpower him, firing deadly heat vision from his eyes. But Superman doesn't flinch. Instead, he demands to know why Lex Luthor is doing all of this. Luthor laughs and says he wants to prove to the entire world that human intelligence can surpass any power in the universe. But Superman only smirks and replies with defiance. Evil human intellect always ends in defeat. At that moment, Superman calls out for his loyal dog Krypto. In a flash, Krypto appears, slamming into Ultraman with tremendous force. Then, following Superman's command, Krypto charges into Luthor's surveillance robots, tearing them apart and leaving Lex furious. Realizing he's losing control of Ultraman, Luthor grows desperate. He orders his entire army to attack, but Superman charges forward with unstoppable fury, smashing Ultraman to the ground and blasting through Luthor's soldiers with his searing heat vision. Ultraman regains his strength and lunges at Superman again. But this time, Superman seizes the moment, hurling him straight into a black hole, banishing him forever. With Ultraman gone, Traffic rushes in.
Together with Superman and Krypto, they storm Lex Luthor's command center to shut down the massive rift threatening to destroy the Earth. Traffic battles Luthor's assistants, clearing the way so he can work on the machines, while Superman faces Luthor himself. Luthor sneers, declaring, "You're an alien. You'll never belong to humanity." But Superman roars back, "That's a lie. I have emotions. I care, just like every human being."
Luthor refuses to believe him. He insists that letting Kal-El live on Earth was a mistake. At that moment, Krypto pounces on Luthor, slamming him into the walls, crushing everything around them. He's seconds away from killing him, but Superman intervenes, stopping his faithful companion just in time. Meanwhile, Traffic succeeds. He seals the rift and saves the planet. Everything returns to normal. But Lex's downfall is far from over. News broadcasts across the world reveal all his dark schemes. His alliance with the president of Baravia, his plans to destroy Superman's reputation, and his conspiracy to take over Garanbor. The truth is finally exposed. The world apologizes to Superman for ever doubting him. The people of Garanbor cheer his name, grateful for his sacrifice, and his allies who stood by him. Rex feels proud to have fought alongside him, even more so when Jerry tells him he will officially join the Justice League.
Lex is arrested and taken to prison. In the crowd, Eve runs to Jimmy, throwing her arms around him. Superman, meanwhile, embraces Lois and takes her flying into the sky. Later, Superman returns to the Fortress of Solitude. Everything has been restored, his machines and even the fortress itself repaired by his robots. Suddenly, his cousin appears, asking why he had locked the time portal. Superman explains he had to make adjustments, keeping things secure. It's then revealed that Krypto originally belonged to her. She had left him with Superman while she explored the galaxy. Now, reunited, she watches proudly.
Finally, the robots place Superman before the solar crystal chamber, letting him bathe in sunlight to fully restore his strength. They play a recording of his childhood, memories of the loving parents who raised him on Earth, bringing peace to his heart. And with that, the story